Welcome, everybody, to the Common Ground Cup, your favorite tournament where we play your favorite format, Pauper. I am your co-host, Cameron Schindler, joined as always by my favorite co-host, James Hippo Hieronimus. How you doing, buddy?
I'm wonderful. I'm very excited for
today.
today.
I am too. We're just here early. Few minutes. They're doing some judging announcements, all that fun stuff. We're just here to talk up the chat. Hopefully, y'all got sound. I don't think there's going to be sound when it transitions to the floor cam, so there will not be sound for that. There's just too much going on out there for there to be sound.
But you can hear our lovely voices instead.
Yeah, exactly. With first-time chat, Dredge, Gruel Ramp, all that, Terror. Yeah, I think we're gonna see I think we're gonna see a good portion of the metagame here. Except for Hippo and I were talking about this earlier, but Tennessee's kind of allergic to Affinity.
Yep.
But since it is like a larger event and there's stuff on the line, I think we will see some Affinity here. A lot of Jund Brood scale out there.
There is
just
a
like
lot of
walking
brood scale.
around, like seeing people sleep up on stuff. How many? Can we see how many people we got in chat? Enough. No. Okay. Perfect.
We have many loyal people waiting for us.
The mighty Squee. Beautiful. Thank you. 38. Beautiful.
So we want to also thank the shop here today for hosting us. It's a game night in Columbia, Tennessee. It's your one-stop shop for Magic, Lorcana, Pokemon, Warhammer, and many more nerd-like activities.
Sick Pokemon plushies. Every time I scrub out of a tournament here, I like to like pick up something like that. There's a Bulbasaur hanging in my Chrysler 300 that rattles still. My buddy Zach tried to help me fix that. I need to get that fixed.
But you can find them all on all socials at Game Night TM. So go check them out, and if you need anything, come down to Columbia, Tennessee, and get your Magic the Gathering cards. This is what we're here for today.
Hippo, this isn't Cube.
You're right. This is not Cube. I agree with you.
We're playing Constructed Magic. Nobody drafted our deck. Came from Reddit. Nice to meet the commons here. Thank you. We appreciate that. I'm glad to reach some people. It's going to be like a really, really fun day. Getting more eyes on Pauper is the goal. Getting more events like this, getting coverage and stuff that people can reference. Just get people excited about the format. Not too excited. Could you imagine a Pauper Pro Tour? Is that something you want?
No, actually, it is not.
No.
I like to think of Pauper as kind of like the vintage, where it's just kind of very community driven, and let's keep it that way.
Yeah, and we have our first round pairing already. We'll go and spoil it with it's Austin Walker versus Jonathan Turner. What is Austin Walker playing, Hippo?
Austin's gonna be playing his trusty black white blade deck.
And he is playing against Jonathan Turner, who is playing Jund Wildfires. So similar Jund Brood scale, like very similar cards with like the Writhing Chrysalis, the Cleansing Wildfire package, pretty similar mana base. But instead of the combo, you're just playing this huge mid-range game plan with Refurbished Familiar is just a powerhouse in this format, and you just have a plethora of removal and card draw in black, Deadly Disputes, Snuff Out, Cast Downs. That's going to be a grindy matchup, so we're going to have a really intense matchup. Funny enough, Austin and I had played this matchup before, so
cool. I think so. I know Austin has put in a lot of work over the last couple weeks preparing for this tournament. He wants to hoist that trophy. Speaking of trophy, we have a trophy today for our winner.
Look at that in the chat. You recognize that name?
Ooh,
we got Skura in the
let's
chat.
go.
No fairies on first round of coverage, Skura, but hopefully to get some here.
All right.
Shortly. Who would you say if you had to pick a favorite to
If I
win?
pick a favorite here,
Based on decks.
I'm all right. So look at their opening sounds.
I think I'm leaning a little bit towards Wildfires. They do have the new spell bombs main board, plus the deck just grinds so well. Writhing Chrysalis is a problem for us. He likes his
start. Thank you.
He's gotta navigate.
And if the game's done, though, you have
Was that the? Yeah, we're good. Here is a Vault. Take a little spring. Sure.
Do you want me to go through those?
Okay. And main is for I'm just going to D2.
Commentators right now, so it's in the chat.
Alright, so you're on the new stuff.
Austin's going to run out of Dawnbringer Cleric on turn 2.
Guessing the game
Gain
to
2
life. Yep, there
option,
it goes.
I would imagine.
No bridges from Jonathan at all. 2 Wildfires on hand, no bridges. That is a little Akko.
Yeah, this is gonna be a little awkward.
Austin starts a 19-turn clock.
He's got to get there somehow.
Bounce there. So Austin's off slow, which is not what you want in this matchup. I guess they're going in blind. They don't have this information like we do with the deck list. This is a closed deck list tournament.
Correct.
Now, I wonder if Jonathan just wants to see a bridge just to get this ramp plan going.
Yeah, otherwise, well, I mean, he actually could. Well, funny enough, he could actually fire off the bridge on the
No red mana.
Oh, he does not. You're correct. So he also he didn't fetch a red mana off of his Twisted Landscape.
I don't think it's necessary because all your bridges do tap for red.
Yeah.
So all your bridges can cast Cleansing Wildfires. That is an important part of... Oh, there's a mountain.
there's a
That
mountain.
probably makes sense why I didn't fetch for that red right there, because it's right there. Oh, man, that's
the Chrysalis.
that's brutal.
Let's get started.
You see Austin kind of step back a little bit. He's like, we're doing this. That was a lot of a testing points. We were talking. He's like, I feel like they always have the Writhing Chrysler.
Oh, so Cameron has picked the Jund Wildfire deck for the round, and I have picked the Black-White Blade deck for the round.
We got a judge call going on. Not quite sure what about. Are we just missing
I think
tokens?
we're just missing tokens. Yeah, it's just tokens.
Yep, we can. There we go. Those are 0-1 spawns. You can sacrifice them, and you can make a colorless mana. Whenever you do that, puts a counter on the Writhing Chrysler. A very, very, very powerhouse. It having reach. They just
the card cascades out of the game pretty quick.
We have talked to ad nauseum about
we certainly
Writhing
have.
Chrysler. It is a tricky card to navigate around. You have to use the removal on it, and Austin has. Is it 3 Tithing Blades main board in his?
Yeah, he's got Tithing Blades. He's also got a couple copies of
Tithing Blade awkward against Writhing
he's-
Chrysalis.
Yeah, he's got a couple copies or 3 copies of Cast Down as well. So he's probably going to be saving those exactly for Writhing Chrysalis, I would imagine.
Those Tithing Blades are super, super awkward. You have those. Jonathan happily sacrifice a spawn here, keep them on.
Yeah,
laid
because
back.
it also just grows your crystals.
And we do see a cast down Austin's hand. So he's looking to fire that off in the end step. There's no need to. He can't push through damage here anyway.
No, he's just gonna be sitting back for a couple turns.
Chrysler number 2.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal.
Yep, that is. That is the state of the Pauper format.
Put two more spawns into play.
Yeah,
Spawns into play.
that is not what Austin wanted to see coming into the first round.
No, this is not the best for him.
Jonathan, on the other hand, pretty happy. Opponent's not up to too
Oh,
much.
he's already got the Neil Spell Bomb to close off the opportunity for tithing or for Omen of the Dead.
We see cast down that first Chrysler that was attacking. Bridge from Jonathan. And go. Deadly Dispute there. Austin just got to dig for another answer. We got to see another cast down. You said there's 2 cast downs main
There are
board?
3 cast downs.
3 cast downs main board. No snuff outs?
No stuff
No.
outs. Not enough swamps in his deck
Yep,
to facilitate that.
But Jund Wildfire deck is only playing 3 swamps, but can get away with playing the snuff outs because you have the Wildfires and you have the Twisted Landscapes to go tutor for that swamp to put into play, which is nice.
Correct.
There we go. Thank you. That is perfect.
Beautiful. We got
Thank
some,
you,
some
thank you, Steven.
tokens incoming.
Brother is not looking good. You are correct. Yeah, we see a lot of comments. People, Hippo is a bit low compared to Cameron. That's just us generally. I'm a little however talker.
I
than
do
Hippo.
speak softly.
Look at those gorgeous RK Post tokens. Austin's rocker. He is rocking the RK Post.
Austin's got some good taste.
You
His
ever-
basic choices for today are also
Ooh.
great.
Yeah, they are.
Those beautiful Ice Age basics.
Bounce it, replay. So he plays 2 mana for the Glenhawk. He's just shortcutting here. He's tapped out, so he says Glenhawk, play it. But I guess there's snuff out in the format, so he's got to play through that a little bit. There you go. Make it easier for us too.
We can't snuff out the familiar though.
That is true. That is true. Good point. Oh,
Double familiar. That's pretty good.
and black floating from that. Where's off Basilica there?
Yeah. So look, I can see in Jonathan's hand he's got a Pulse Marasa. So at any point he can just fire off and get back that Chrysalis. That's going to be a huge game. There it is.
Man.
Or no, he just discards it. Just discards it.
Oh, the pole. Wow, that's
He's also got a Nyxborn Hydra in hand as well.
that is also a banger. Just post that up on a spawn, and the
Yeah,
spawn
then
is
you've
now a
got
threat. Yep.
double threats on the board. It'd be pretty good.
And Austin does have a Dawnbringer Cleric's main. He already fired 1 off, though, and it's in the graveyard. Thank you for the follow, Frumbus. What are we gonna see here from Jonathan?
A refurbished familiar of his own.
Yes. We see Austin hitting on that suffocating fumes. That is really good here if he has a tithing blade, because Austin can go suffocating fumes to clear the board, and when his tithing blade can tag this Chrysalis now, which is very nice.
Correct.
But as Hippo pointed out, Jonathan is going to play this Nyxborn Hydra, and unfortunately Austin's tapped out here, so he can't get the. Oh, is he just gonna put it on that
I
Furby?
think he's just gonna make this huge.
Wow.
On the. I mean, all right.
You have 3 counters.
We've put all of our eggs in one basket
Yep,
here.
there you go. 4 counters there. Perfect.
That's 5. With all the spawns.
Well, 4 counters in the Chrysler.
Oh yes. From the center,
interesting. I make him deal with that. That is so now. The tithing blade line is still open from Austin to suffocating fume tithing blade, but he still has, because of how bestow works. It'll come back once the creature dies.
Correct. He'll just have a nice 5/6 with reach.
Squee, I don't know if we're gonna put on Poison Storm on coverage.
I don't think anyone was bold enough to register that today.
Don't know if I want to watch that.
Yeah, it's not particularly good for the viewing experience.
And there's the second best card in the format. Is that referring to
I assume-
Nyxborn Hydra or Refurbished Familiar? Refurbished Familiar, I would assume so. I agree with that. Writhing Chrysalis is a card. Interesting enough, it's like 3 decks only play it, and it's like the Gruul Ponza deck's not
All right.
really. Oh, we see an attack from Jonathan.
Austin's debating on how he wants to block here,
Yeah,
because
that's
he can't just take a full hit of this again.
9, 10, 11.
Yeah, can't.
11.
Yeah, 11. Can't take a full hit of that.
Yeah, because it trample too.
Yeah, it's got.
So is that-
The thing
what
is
am I-
gigantic.
8?
Yeah, it goes
Yeah.
to 3.
It's really brutal for Austin. What does he need
Well-
to come back from this?
Well, Jonathan is hellbent now.
Yes.
So, that's game 1.
That was a conversation that Austin and I were having once. He's like, I feel like Pauper decks play such little lands, but I always end up with so many lands in hand. And you do have like the card advantage engine of Orzhov Basilica is putting a land in your hand, funny enough.
It is.
Deadly Dispute draws cards.
It certainly does.
Yeah. So let's see. What are we looking for post board here? I would assume Jonathan is just saying goodbye to the Cart Clan Shaman and Toxin Analysis. Austin has so many flyers, you just don't need them here.
Mhm.
And he's probably bringing in some number of breath weapons and like maybe like a Troublemaker Oof he has there, which is nice to
Austin
tag
does.
random
Austin does have a
artifacts.
lot of artifact lands as well.
Yes, that too. Yeah, yep. You have the
Austin's got the
and
bridges
yep.
and the untapped
Is he
artifact
on
lands.
4/4/4 of those?
He is on 4, 4, and 4 of those of the artifact lands.
What do you think Jonathan or Austin will be bringing for sideboard?
Austin is probably just going to look into bring ways to do with the graveyard. I would imagine so something like Thraben Charm would be a pretty good game here.
Do you like
Also tags Chrysalises pretty nicely.
Do you like Dusted Us against the deck? Because it only does play 10 artifact lands.
If you had cards you like just definitely don't want in your main deck, then
Mm-hmm.
then sure. But I don't know if there's like anything that Austin's looking to like not keep other than
Stab?
maybe Stab is like the worst.
Stab
is like
is
the worst one.
Pretty awful here.
Yeah, so you just bring in like the 2 Thraben Charms, just cut them nicely.
And I think you do keep some number of Tithing Blades in, even though they're not the best card in the world in this matchup. It gives your Glenhawk a purpose. Because once all of those are gone, you just dilute your artifact count so hard, and Glenhawk becomes like awkward in picking up lands.
It can, yeah. Especially if your opponent's also trying to blow up your lands, it just becomes really.
Someone said Deadly Dispute, which is on
Awkward.
screen, might be the best card in the format. I am pretty hard pressed to agree with it.
I would also agree.
Probably the best non-bannable card in the format.
Yeah, it's kind of like it might be like Brainstorm territory where it is kind of like Legacy, where it's just like it's just kind of the part of the format.
It is interesting, yeah, because with Ichor Wellspring, we joke and call it Ancestor Recall, but you are investing 4 mana to draw 3. To draw 4.
Yeah.
Over the course.
Yes, I
This is
mean
the first draw.
Sure.
Yeah. But like in the moment when you cast the Deadly Dispute and you get that treasure back, it does feel like Recall.
it does. It sure does. Very potent combination. Been going on for a while since the Deadly Dispute was put into the format, so it's pretty nice.
Also, if I agree with what Squeak said for bringing in Broodscale of sweepers like Fumes and Hadar can turn Tithing
Yeah,
Blades.
Austin's got a couple Drowning Sorrows if he wants to bring those in as well to get rid of the spawns. But I think he's just probably going to lean into the one copy of what's the Suffocating Fumes that he's got to do kind of fill that role probably.
And this is Jonathan's on just the Jund Wildfire, so it's not the Brood Scale, but someone was asking, what do you bring in Brood Scale? Austin has Trespasser's Curse, which is a nice little enchantment curse that you can curse an opponent whenever a creature enters the battlefield under their control. It drains them for 1. But we won't be seeing that in this matchup. I don't believe so.
No, I wouldn't imagine so.
I mean, you drain 3 off a Chrysler.
You do. You do.
It's a little harder than 3, though.
That is correct. Well, what do you imagine like a good opening from Austin looks like to have a good chance in this matchup?
This is really tricky because he has to be aggressive but also have interaction. And this deck does like to dirt a little bit. It can play an aggressive hand, so I think he wants to see some number of Glint Hawks and Core Skyfishers. And you kind of just have to play into Jonathan not having the sweeper because those are the games you win.
Yeah, the good thing is he does have the one card that does get around a sweeper and being the Core Skyfisher.
Yes,
it beats all the 2 damage sweepers.
It does. But like you might just have to overcommit with like a Glint Hawks and Furby, even though they all die to Breath Weapon. But I think the games you win are when you're really, really fast.
Austin very quickly takes a mulligan, as does Jonathan following him.
That's good. Meet them on 6. Well, Austin will claim he is king at drawing lands, so he can get out of a 6 pretty easily. And both players will play at our local game store, and they're both heaters of players, so this is a fun feature match.
Both very good players. Jonathan plays a little bit more Pauper on a normal basis than Austin does.
But
I know.
like we mentioned, Austin was putting in. He has played more Pauper.
He's probably played more Pauper in the last 2 weeks
than
all 3 of us minimum combined.
Yeah, probably anybody in the store too right now.
Yeah. He's definitely been grinding a lot of this Black-White Blade deck.
I mean, as a deck, I got him on when Rivals of Ixalan came out with the Tithing Blade interaction. All right, we see a couple lands in Austin's hand. It's easy to see a 3-Raven Charm, a Furby, it looks like. So
probably a keepable hand from Austin because he gets to go turn 2 Furby. Probably good enough here.
Oh, Jonathan
was on a mold of 5.
We missed that. We're just chatting it up.
Oh, they're both on molds to 5. We missed an entire mulligan. Look at that.
Go us. Maybe they did a gentleman's mold of 5.
Who knows? All right, Austin's gonna turn 1 and put that bridge into play.
He's double Furby, like you said.
He's gonna try to just strip Jonathan's hand away while he can, which is pretty good if you're on the play here.
So we see an Ichor in Jonathan's hand. He has 2 Ichors, so he's gonna discard one of them.
Seems like a reasonable choice.
Force from Jonathan, and that second Ichor we saw draw a card, replace itself. And what are we going to see discarding the Furby number 2?
It's pretty brutal. This is a good way. This is a good way for Austin to kind of run away with the game here.
Also setting up a sweeper for Jonathan if he does have it.
Correct.
Can't quite see his hand completely though. We see a Vault of Whispers, I believe that is from
I believe the
Warhammer.
Yeah. Oh, there's a Core Sky. There's how Core Skyfisher injured the grip.
Okay, that's nice. Maybe play that, pick up a dude if that, just put the pressure on board. Yep, I like that. Additional. Nope, so that's an ETB trigger. So if Jonathan has 2 removal spells, he can make Austin bounce a land, which he'll gladly just replay.
Yeah, he might even get some value because he knows have the Nail Hill Spellbomb in his hand as well, so he can just replay it. Or play it out.
Yep,
after.
Jonathan's not that resolve. He's going to Gal Blast the 2/3, setting up Vault of Whispers. Yep, there we go. So he does have Metalcraft there. And then we see
an Insight to draw 3.
Yep. An Insight's the flashback one. So 4 and a black to flashback from the graveyard. The deck can do it pretty well since it plays this long game.
Correct.
Bridge from Jonathan, pass.
His Furby of his own. But he's hitting his land drops, and hitting land drops is very important.
Yes, and that stops Austin's clock pretty hard because he can happily take the trade here. We're going to see Austin's other Furby probably come down this turn.
Did it land for the turn?
Artifact land too. So make Jonathan
replay that refurbished familiar.
Pulse Marasa.
Discard the Pulse Marasa again.
We see it makes sense because Jonathan's hand looks like Deadly Dispute Limbus. Let's just deploy that and like we're both out of gas. I'm gonna
draw a lot of cards.
Yeah, hands reset. You're field for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and he also gets a little bit of selection of Limbus as well to help him out.
And Austin not playing out the Nihil Spellbomb here.
Fire off the Limbus.
Got the daily bread going.
There's a bomb on the top. I don't think you want the bomb here.
Just thinking about it, yeah.
He does.
Interesting.
He wants the bomb here.
Yep.
All right. I guess he respects the Omen of the Dead.
That's fair. It's just like one late game thing you just don't have to worry about now.
Correct.
Oh, we can see a bomb from Austin. 2 in the air. Puts Jonathan to a healthy 12 still.
End of turn, he's going to fire off the Deadly Dispute, put that Limbus right back in the deck.
Yep, as additional cost, so they'll shuffle in first.
Correct.
Nice draw, too, and Jonathan will be untapping with 4 fresh cards. Well, 4 from the one he drew, yes, last turn, but you know.
Yeah, he pees up a lot of cards.
Yeah.
In this interaction. Oh, nice guy, Austin. Give him a token. Those beautiful RK post tokens.
See, a Snuff Out is one of the cards he drew. Kind of doesn't look the best here right now. And another Deadly Dispute. That's pretty good. Let's make a bomb, Snuff Out. Deadly Dispute, that treasure.
Another Deadly Dispute. Just filter the treasure.
Net even on treasure, yep. The nice gateway promo ones. I do enjoy that version of Deadly Dispute. I'm an old bordered foil stand for sure.
It does look pretty good.
Land drop and heal spell bomb.
Got the bomb himself.
Jonathan also not having any board presence. He really wants to see a Writhing Chrysler here.
Yeah, Austin can just chip away a couple points a turn.
And now Austin has the cast down for the first Chrysalis too,
Which is huge game. Because that's the card that's really going to stop Austin. Or that or the Nyxborn Hydra. Cycle a Twisted Landscape here.
It comes up quite a bit in this deck.
It does. I also have played around with this deck a little bit. It does come up.
See a Limbus in Jonathan's hand. He's going to go in to play that.
How about a Nicker Wellspring?
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Good old. Oh, sorry. Another Twisted Landscape that'll probably just be
probably a cycle in the end of turn, I imagine.
And funny enough, Snuff Out. You can't even pay 4 and just get rid of this refurbished familiar.
Nope.
And stop Austin dead in his tracks.
That does not work.
That is black. And they are figuring that out right now. Yep.
Correct. That does not work.
There's no legal targets for it, so I think it just goes back in Jonathan's hand.
I would agree.
And 2.
He's just kind of a sitting duck with those snuff outs in his hand against these refurbished.
We see a Tox Analysis, 2 Snuff Outs.
He's gonna cycle this Twisted Landscape.
And he can cycle the Tox Analysis if worse comes to worse. I'm curious if he kept in the Karkland Shamans or not, just to clear up the.
He did find a Chrysalis.
It's a good start.
He also found his own refurbished familiar.
See what Austin discards first.
Austin is. I think Austin will at no point discard that cast down.
Very, very interesting seeing Austin discard that Dawnbringer Cleric because of the Nyxborn Hydra. It just kills it if it's bestowed. Like, you don't have to kill it twice. It just gets rid of it right there.
Correct.
We're going to see cast down instep. Austin's been holding on to that. I guess I don't know the last couple cards of this hand, so that might be better than Dawnbringer Cleric. Could even be a second copy with Thraben Charm, which also just more versatile than Dawnbringer Cleric, so that does make sense. Ancient In from Austin.
See what he chooses to do with his turn. He's in a Thraben Charm. So he can probably just aggressively fire off a Thraben Charm on this familiar to start pushing damage.
I think he wants to save it for the Nyxborn Hydras. Just because you just need to get rid of these reach threats. Because at least you can, the very least, you trade with this Furby. It's hard to trade with a Nyxborn Hydra.
Because they're both looking at bombs from each other, so they know that that's not an option to get anything back from the yard, really.
Yep. Austin's tanking a little bit. He's thinking. I think he's thinking that line you were talking about.
This is game 2. Jonathan is up a game.
Austin's getting for 2. He did fiber off that Thraben Charm.
I think he just wants to try to push damage to give Jonathan as few draw steps as possible, because Jonathan does just keep ripping lands off the top.
And that is a treasure from Austin, that face down card.
He might just crack this to draw. Yeah, he's just going to draw a card here.
Yep.
He just really needs to find some kind of action. He just found another land, so he's just kind of sitting there.
I probably time to cycle that Toxin Analysis, I would guess.
I would imagine so.
Give a spawn
three mana draw card there as well. Just say go.
No, I got another land, just bricking.
Yeah, Jonathan's bricked pretty hard this game. He's also looking these copies of Snuff Out, and they look kind of embarrassing in this particular scenario. Yeah, Jonathan is going to fire off make a clue here.
Yeah, Austin says it's fine, laughs a little bit. Yep, he's got another redraw.
And found another bridge.
You like them bridges.
Just nothing here from Jonathan's side.
Whoa, Austin. Can't quite see what he's got left in his hand. I think it was a Deadly Dispute.
I think there was a deadly. I think there was.
He's
Or
gonna
he's just going to cycle his bomb as well.
Maybe he already. And we're gonna see Deadly Dispute on Treasure. Yep.
Yep. Filter through the treasure. Get a couple cards deeper.
See a Thraben Inspector. Ooh, Core Skyfisher, nice here too. Get him for 2. And I think if you're Austin, you just play this hand.
Yeah, I think you just kind of fire off and put Jonathan under a ton of pressure and make him have to have a bunch of outs for the turn.
Jonathan hasn't landed discard.
He's got plenty of lands to discard.
And it's Austin to play this Thraben Inspector too. All right, yep, I like the Icar here. Just get another card.
Less targets for those deadly or for those snuff outs.
And Jonathan can finally use that snuff out on a Core Skyfisher.
He's also got the treasure, so he does just fire off the treasure to get a Thread Inspector out there.
So if you're Jonathan and you're looking out the fire 4 mana out, the snuff out the Core Skyfisher here on end step, just get that out of the way now.
And he's still got to find an answer for the
for
the refurbished familiar.
And we see exactly that.
We see
4 mana.
the 4 mana, the hidden mode, pay 4 mana.
The card does have a mana cost.
It does have a mana cost. And finds another bridge. That's game 2.
And we were heading to game 3. I wonder if snuff outs are weird here. I think 2 in the main board is the perfect amount. I don't think you bring in more, and I don't think you take them out, because they are nice against, if they just have Core Skyfisher, Thraben Inspectors, they're only beats. Just snuffing out a Core Skyfisher is fine, paying the 4 life, because it'll probably hit you more than that until you find your Writhing Chrysler.
Correct. You just want this Jund Wildfire deck just wants the game to go on as long as possible.
Looking back at his sideboard, it's like you don't really want the Weather of Storms, and you don't want the Avenging Hunters. You don't want to give Austin the initiative. That would be bad.
No, he's very likely to take it because his deck is almost entirely flyers.
So it might be more of an issue of like, okay, what do I bring in? Because Duress is not super crazy against Austin. They're fine.
Correct.
But they're not. What are they? I guess tagging a cast down, clearing the way for a Chrysler.
You could do that.
I call that card something different every time.
You sure do.
And just a reminder, this tournament is
also Austin could bring in. He could bring in Shrivel to do the same thing that was mentioned before about like having the sweepers. But I don't think you want like the full like 3 mana sweeper that just does a lot, because it also kills your own creatures too. You want to be able to keep your creatures in play. Like with Shrivel, it's not killing any of your
3 mana's opponent.
Yeah.
Yep. 3 mana 1 is opponent. Yeah. So
yeah.
Shrivel's all though.
Yeah, Shrivel is all. We don't want to. Or the 3 mana one, the Drowning Sorrow is all creatures.
Oh yes, I thought you were referring to the main board.
No. Suffocating Fumes is only opponent's creatures.
Correct.
Shrivel is not killing any of your creatures, while it is just killing all of your opponent's spawn tokens from the Chrysalis.
You have your Furbies.
You do have your Furbies because you're 1 creature.
See, Jonathan on a mulligan.
Jonathan took a quick mulligan there.
Unless we missed a 6, that's another 5. But it looks to be a 6.
It looks like a mold of
we
6
are
to
on
me.
the ball. Just a quick reminder, this tournament is brought to you by the Common Ground podcast, your favorite podcast. We talk about your favorite format, Pauper. We do a podcast every Thursday, talk about our favorite format, Pauper. Really fun stuff. We do a lot of casual topics. We do tournament recaps. But we also like to go in depth on certain things.
Yeah, we go on some tangents, don't we?
Yeah, yep. Like we've had very good players on there, like Skura, who just annihilated mono blue fairies and just help us dive deep in that. We have dove deep in the red deck and stuff.
Yep.
So. And also another
other big Pauper stalwarts like Kali Kai's come and join us for our end of year recap.
That was really fun.
year.
So hopefully you get more guests on this year is a goal.
Yeah. So it looks like Austin has decided he kept his 7 for sure, and Jonathan is also going to go down to 5.
This deck can go to 5 because Deadly Dispute just kind of just like reverts your mulligan so easily.
It can. Now it also depends on the context of Austin's hand. If Austin has like a double familiar hand again, that's going to be really rough.
Is there a
Jonathan
link
to
to
get
find deck list today? Not currently, but that will get posted eventually. We lost viewing. There we go. We got viewing. I don't know if it's just going to be top 8 deck lists that are going to be published later, but that will be happening after retirement.
Correct.
So it's Jonathan's 5. Tucking down a snuff out. He has 2 Chryslers, which you want to see. Old Reliable, 2 Bridges, and he's looking at Deadly Dispute, Blood Fountain.
I think he's pitching the snuff out to the bottom, as well as what was the second thing he pitched?
Hard to see. Looks like
Oh,
Blood Fountain over Deadly Dispute.
Oh, blood fountain taking the bin.
Mm-hmm.
We did keep a double Chrysalis hand as
Because
well.
the Deadly Dispute is awkward because you need your lands right now, and it doesn't look like Jonathan has a trinkety artifact to be sacrificing to
He
Deadly
does not,
Dispute.
but he did hit his third land drops. That's puts him well on his way to casting his
He
Chrysalis.
might just. Oh, interesting. We see the Deadly Dispute in hand. He might just end up Deadly Disputing his land here because you really need the land once to cast the first Chrysler.
Yeah, he does have it, or he's also
Oh,
just
wow,
gonna discard it to the
interesting. Yep.
familiar. Okay.
Oh,
He's got
and
the
a
wildfire. That's huge game here, actually. That puts him up to casting Chrysalis next turn.
That is a good peel.
That was a very good rip here.
We see Austin with a few Glint Hawks in hand, so Austin can go land. He can attack for turn, play another land, Glint Hawk, replay Refurbished Familiar. If he chooses to do such.
Those are some good-looking Deadly Disputes for sure.
We see that Glint Hawk.
Want to pick it back up, replay it, discard a card.
And Jonathan snaps out that Limbus.
He's got two Chrysalis that he thinks is going to probably stabilize this game for him. I would imagine he's correct.
We see another Glint Hawk from Austin, but we see a Thraben Charm from Austin that can get rid of that Writhing Chrysler right now once he deploys that. Yep. But awkward here because now Jonathan can snuff out one.
No, he bought him the stuff out from.
Correct. Thank you,
from
Hippo.
Mulligan.
Thank you, Hippo.
All right, we just have the second Chrysalis plus a land.
I do believe that snuff out was the right bottom though. Cause
I agree.
Yeah.
Because there's a chance that you just have the game like you had last time, where he just has like a
Jonathan is hellbent.
double familiar draw, and it's just kind of bad.
Jonathan is hellbent, so Austin just needs a way to clear this other Chrysalis off the board. He's play Glint Hawk and draw him a card if he bounces a Refurbished Familiar.
I think that's fine here because you're not getting in either way.
Does he want to get in for 4 and put him to 10? Pressure that life total?
I think he wants to. I think he's okay stabilize or like getting ahead on cards in hand to have more lines available to him in the future.
That's what Austin's pondering right now. He's got to find a way to get out of this brick wall right now.
Yep, that one Chrysalis it'll do it.
Well, the second one is what locked it in.
Well, yeah, I'm saying we got any amount of Chrysalis is really just a lock or really hard to get through with this Blade deck.
Pick it up, play it. Austin draws a card.
Looks like he finds his own Deadly Dispute. I think
We see a pass from Austin.
Jonathan finds a Nihil Spellbomb.
I think he's just going to cycle that here.
I would imagine he probably waits.
Since it's only black mana, so he might as well just do it on an instep.
Yeah, I think he's just going to wait here. Because he's not drawing. There's no spell. Like, well, I guess he could draw like a
Cleansing Wildfire.
Cleansing Wildfire
like,
to get himself ahead a little bit. Or like
Limbus.
another land to put him in. Yeah, Trinkety Artifact, any of these.
So there are live draws from this now, but you could also just Austin already put Deadly Dispute. There we go. You see that they're out of black mana.
Kessick, best of luck to you on your growing that nice Pauper scene. Love to hear that. How did your first tournament go?
Ooh, Minnesota too. Nice.
Yeah.
So we Austin pondering.
Austin's got lots of plays available to him this turn. He's just. I think at some point he's just going to overwhelm Jonathan with the amount of flyers.
Getting rid of that Deadly Dispute is going to be nice. Jonathan picking up his card, ready to discard it. I mean, eventually, Austin can make a great big attack. He is kind of susceptible to.
There it is. He's going to
fire a fiery cannonade right now, or a breath weapon.
That's brutal for that Deadly Dispute not being able to cast it here.
Yep. We see Austin's own.
Got a bomb as well. Okay.
Go from Austin. Austin's like it looks like Austin's in a commanding position right now, but Jonathan's a rip away from.
Yeah, and there's lots of spells in his deck that could just get him right back in the game. Like another Chrysalis is huge.
Breath weapons over.
Also, yeah. Well, there's the Chrysalis. There it is.
And you see a little head nod from Austin. He's like, "Yep."
Yep, that's pretty brutal.
We talk about that quite a bit. He's like, "I can deal with the first
we're
one."
We're coming in the red zone
I like
with
that.
this Chrysalis. I love this attack. Like, how big do I want to make this?
Yeah, I like this. Usually, you want the games to go longer with Jund Wildfires, but you do have to close the game out.
Wow, that's a sick first prize, a 7th edition foil counterspell. That's awesome.
Oh, that is
with
really
42 people.
Cool. That's
Heck
awesome.
Yeah,
that is really
yeah.
cool.
Nice job on that.
7th edition foils. They hit.
They do.
We see the cast down.
Oh, there's the cast down.
Oh,
Beautiful.
nice.
Austin can make a big attack this turn.
See, attack for 8 now.
That's a big attack.
He's going to throw out that just to gain life chump block, maybe.
Yeah, just throw it
turn sideways.
Start in front of the Chrysler. Top 4 also got promo brainstorms. Wow, that's very cool.
That is cool.
Very nice. Glad y'all had a successful tournament. And that's
Jonathan
the game.
picks it up. Austin is divest.
Austin takes this one down. His threats are just very cheap in this deck.
I bet he's feeling pretty good about this because this is a matchup that him and I played a lot, and he struggled with the Writhing Chrysalers. So congrats to Austin there.
So yeah, we'll go get Austin and
We'll have a winner's interview with Thomas and Austin, I believe.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure Austin's feeling on top of the world because it's really hard for that deck to beat Writhing Chrysalis, let alone a second copy and then the third copy. But Austin just went, why? We talked about this. That's how you win this game is your opponent you have to play the board, and your opponent just has not to have it. He had 4 creatures that died the breath weapon there, but Jonathan was top decking.
Yeah, just never. Like I had to mulligan to 5, start off the game off 5 cards.
That's hard. That's rough.
He did keep like ripping the Wildfire there was a huge game.
The other Chrysalis.
And the going for you get the hand with double Chrysalis.
Well, then the third
and then,
Chrysalis.
And then drawing the
yeah,
third one.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a big game, but he's got to find some way to back it up.
Jonathan did have nice rips, like you said. That Wildfire.
The Wildfire was huge.
I think that's what put him in that game. Was
I think if he didn't have the Wildfire, the game was basically out of reach for him.
Yes. See
All right,
Pauper. I
yes,
hope to see
thank
some
you.
nice spice. I hope to see some spice too. Thank you. Here's some of the things we'll be calling common cards during this match. yeah. You'd be the commons nowadays are pretty pushed. Writhing Chrysalis is a house of a card.
Yeah, like I say, Deadly Dispute, Writhing Chrysalis, heck, Refurbished Familiar. Like these are very, very strong commons. Very strong commons.
Very. Nice to see Orzhov Blade do a little bit well because that is a deck I was very fond of, and I felt like was a little bit harder to play into this meta, with mainly because of the Writhing Chrysalis. And I think this is going to be a talking point of today.
Yeah, we imagine Writhing Chrysalis is going to come up a lot today.
But hopefully we do see some spice and we can pull some fun matches to watch, like Turbo Fog or.
So, Avid Fish asked if there are any suggestions for a deck for a new player to the format. Our default answer really is usually something like Kuldotha Red. It's the deck that allows you mistakes to be made and you can still just win games because your deck does a very, very busted thing.
But I don't feel like that gives you I don't feel like I'm playing Pauper with Kuldotha Red. I'm playing Legacy.
I mean, yeah, you're
no.
Yeah, but I think that gives you a good sense of like you understand how your deck interacts with a lot of other decks in the format. And you can just win games by not having necessarily to interact with your opponent a ton. So that's super huge here as well.
I would lean towards like a little bit of like Dimir Terror or maybe even like Dimir Fairies. Just
so Walls Combo and Golgari Brood Scout. Of those two, I think I would pick Brood Scout.
Brood Scale is
it's one of the top decks in the room or in the format.
Raven. I hope to see some Dimir Fey too. That was my first Pauper deck, and I am very, very fond of it.
Yeah, a couple months ago we had a Team Trios event here, and I also played the Dimir Fey deck as well. So it was huge. And it was super fun to play into this room. Rewards like format knowledge. It's pretty nice.
And it's a good deck to learn on because you are gonna learn, and it's like Pauper in general rewards format knowledge, so you are gonna get your beatings when you first pick up the format.
Correct.
But that's okay. That's Magic in general. You're gonna get your beatings, but you're gonna learn. That's really good.
Yep, gotta learn how the format works.
And we are gonna switch over to the interview where Thomas will be interviewing Austin, the winner of our match 1 with Black White Blade.
Hello everyone, I'm Thomas Gunn. I'm here with the winner of our first round, Austin. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you're playing this Black-White Blade deck.
Yeah.
This deck is super sick. It's a deck that's kind of fallen out of favor in like the general Magic Online sense. I think generally because of a card you just played against a bunch this round in Writhing Chrysalis.
It's a beating. Chrysalis is very hard. And so I've been putting a lot of work into this deck. I've been playing a lot of just random leagues and getting a lot of like one-on-one paper testing against the Chrysalis decks with this deck. And it's definitely still rough. It's a lot more manageable, I think, with my configuration, just because I have different different outs and kind of a different plan of attack. So I'm only on 3 cast down, which I think that is probably one of the weaknesses of the deck. I think that if you're really trying to beat the Chrysalis decks, you want to have the 4th cast down. But against the rest of the field, like against fairies, I'm not super high on cast down. Against obviously mono red, like those types of decks, I'm a lot lower on cast down. So I thought that 3 was a good balance for the room today in general. Suffocating Fumes in the main can sometimes help you squeak in a blade when when you need to against a Chrysalis or two. But this game was this match really came down to can I put enough pressure on the board? I was testing a lot with somebody playing the Wildfire deck, and we determined that the best way to attack the matchup is just to try to put a lot of bodies on the board as early as you can and just start attacking. If you let the game go late, then you're almost definitely going to lose. They have a lot of recursion, they have a lot of just bodies to block, and then if they can get a big Nyxborn Hydra, then it's really hard to come back from that. So yeah, that was my plan. As you saw, Game 3, I kept double Glinthawk and a Refurbished Familiar, drew another couple Glinthawks, and then the core Skyfisher, and it was just about trying to strip the hand. Obviously, my opponent was on a mold of 5, and I kept my 7, so that's obviously very tough to come back from when you're in a heavy resource exchange type of deck.
For sure.
So yeah.
Tell us about a couple of these choices. I won't go too into details because we don't want anyone out there to get super
Right.
a ton of information. But
Yeah.
you have a couple of interesting choices. You have 2 copies of Stab, which is a new card for Foundations, which is essentially a functional reprint of Disfigure. It's a
Right.
single black mana for an instant, -2/-2. Tell us about a couple of those, because I know we talked, because we're friends in real life.
Yeah.
Go figure. I have a similar jersey. We were talking beforehand how these black decks, in terms of single mana removal, don't really have much outside of Defile, and
Right.
you really need to be all in on Swamps for Defile. So
Yeah.
talk about just a couple copies of Stab.
Yeah, so Stab is great against the aggressive decks, obviously. Being able to tag a Brood Scale when they try to go for the combo, you can kind of catch them by surprise if they're not on a lot of mana. If you are able to sometimes use a Stab in an aggressive exchange with a Chrysalis, it's fine, but it's really for the Mono Blue Fairies deck, which is very easy to fall behind. So just being able to turn 1 Stab their thing, so that they don't get to put a ninja into play, or if you think that they might be on the Deep Hours Ninja, you can stab it afterward on turn 2. But yeah, just being able to tag an early fairy, being able to tag the Blast Runners, or
Sure.
Tomb Raider, whichever one.
All of the X2s.
Yeah, all of the X2s.
What your
out of-
Suffocating Fumes can't hit.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It just gives you a way to not fall behind against those decks. So yeah, we had talked, you and I had talked a bit before about both Defile and Snuff Out, and how you really got to be all in on the Swamp plan. And I don't want to be all in on the Swamp plan because I want artifacts for my Refurbished Familiars.
Exactly. One last thing I'll note, a couple of spicy copies in your list. Talk to me about 3 copies of Divest. This is a single black mana sorcery.
Yeah.
It's Duress, but instead of non-creatures, it hits creatures and artifacts.
Yeah, artifacts is super relevant, and so obviously really good against Affinity, but it's also very good against any of the just generic artifact decks like Jund Wildfires. Being able to look at their hand, being able to take, especially if you're on the play, being able to take their tap land out of their hand so that they are not able to Wildfire right away, maybe, or just slow them down on their mana is really good. But it also importantly hits the Chrysalis, so it's just more answers to your Chrysalis. It answers the Brood Scale combo all right when you need it to do that. A lot of times I find that the Brood Scale player is just sandbagging the combo until they can go for it, and so if they see the copy of Divest, they need to make the decision: do I want to play into the removal, or do I want to sandbag and potentially play into the Divest? So, so yeah. Kind of flexible there.
Awesome. Well, you got a really sweet list, some really interesting choices, very specific choices, which is what we love to see.
Yeah.
You're up 1 round. We got several rounds to go, so good luck the rest of the way, Austin.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for
Appreciate
coming
it.
out. And we'll head on back to the booth.
All right. Appreciate it.
Nice little transition there. I like that.
Brain Snare, thanks for the follow.
Oh, thank you. Very good interview with Austin. He had very nice things to say. And someone said in chat, credit for this guy calling out his opponent's mulligan. Good sportsmanship. Austin's nothing but a good sport.
Correct, I would agree. Austin, good people.
Mm-hmm. He is a pleasure to play against. I have given him many beatings, and it was always fun.
Correct. So what type of cards need to be printed or downgraded to make Coggates a viable deck? Remove Writhing Crystals from the format. There you go. That's your answer.
You can fight through a Chrysler.
You can. It's just that's the card that's really kind of holding that deck back.
Brood Scale holds it
that
back
also
a lot
holds it
too,
yeah.
Doesn't help that poison either, but
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like most of them do. But yeah, I think that there's a couple of those Drazi cards. Those little Drazi cards are really bad for the
thanks
for the birds.
Yeah, they are.
They're really bad for the birds. But
just with the Coggates, because a lot of your interactions a little bit better now with the Raven Charm, but it's just not quite enough to deal with brood scale. And what's nice about the gates, though, is you can do interesting stuff with play off-colored cards on the sideboard because of the gates. So you can play Trespasser's Curse in your sideboard and just name black when it's relevant for you to play.
You can, and that's what the Gates deck is kind of known for. They play like lots of like blast effects and like the red blast effects in their sideboards and stuff like that.
So this is a deck we have both dabbled with before.
We both have played our fair amount of Cog Gates, yeah.
We have played quite a bit of the Pauper meta before.
Yeah, I mean, because we both when we play our like monthly locals and stuff, we like switch it up every single month because we just want to get a feel for whatever there is available in the format.
I'm gonna switch it over to look at that, a nice little common ground ad.
Yeah, this tournament's being hosted by the Common Ground podcast.
We are 2 of your 3 co-hosts, myself, Cameron Schindler, James Hippo Hieronimus, my buddy next to me,
Yep,
and Thomas Gunn doing the winner's interview. But we'll be switching it up every Thursday. Listen to us on whatever your listening app of choice is.
and we're at this lovely store in Game Night in Columbia, located in Columbia, Tennessee. It's your one-stop shop for Magic, Lorcana, Pokemon, Warhammer, and any other thing that makes your nerding heart happy. You can find them online at Game Night TN and all of the major socials.
And I just gotta put out there too, Steven, the owner, is just an awesome guy. He puts on these really cool tournaments. He listens to what the people want.
Correct.
And he is not shy from putting all the money from the tournament into the prize pool.
Correct.
So that is just
it's a huge reason for us to come here and do tournaments and stuff. So we love that, and we will be back soon
with round 2.
for round 2.
Thank you, y'all.